I didn't let my best friend have her wedding on my property after being uninvited. So my best friend Emma and I have been tight since middle school. We did everything together, shared secrets, went through all the messy teenage drama side by side. When she got engaged to Tyler 2 years ago, I was honestly more excited than she was. I immediately offered my family's backyard for the wedding because we have this gorgeous 5-acre property with huge oak trees and a little creek that runs through it. My parents were totally cool with it, and Emma was crying happy tears talking about how perfect it would be. We spent months planning every detail. I'm talking spreadsheets, Pinterest boards, the whole 9 yards. I helped her pick out flowers, tasted cake samples until we were sick, and even drove 3 hours with her to find the perfect dress. My weekends were basically wedding planning central. I was supposed to be her maid of honor, obviously, and I'd already bought my dress and everything. Then, about 6 weeks before the wedding, things got weird. Emma started being distant and would dodge my calls. When we did hang out, she seemed stressed and kept checking her phone constantly. I figured it was just pre-wedding jitters because Tyler's mom had been making her life hell with all these demands about the guest list and decorations. 2 weeks before the wedding, I get this text from Emma saying she needed to talk. She shows up at my house looking like she hadn't slept in days. She sits down on my couch and just blurts out that I'm uninvited to the wedding. Not just uninvited from being maid of honor, but uninvited completely. I'm sitting there like, what the hell just happened? She starts explaining that Tyler's family thinks I'm a bad influence because I have tattoos and work at a bar part-time while going to college. Apparently, his mom saw my Instagram and decided I wasn't the type of person they wanted at their family event. Emma said she tried to fight for me, but Tyler gave her an ultimatum. Either I go or his family doesn't come and doesn't help pay for anything. I was so hurt I couldn't even be mad at first. This is my best friend of 8 years choosing her future mother-in-law over me. I asked her if she was serious, and she just nodded and said she hoped I'd understand. Then she had the nerve to ask if we could still use my family's property for the wedding since all the vendors were already booked and it would be too expensive to change venues. I just stared at her for like 30 seconds processing what she just asked me. She wants to kick me out of her wedding but still use my backyard. I told her absolutely not and that she needed to leave. She started crying, saying I was being unreasonable and that the wedding was already planned around my property. I reminded her that I was being unreasonable, not the person who just uninvited their best friend to appease some snobby in-laws. Emma left and I immediately called my parents to tell them what happened. My mom was furious and said there was no way we were hosting a wedding for someone who treated me like that. My dad just shook his head and said he never liked Tyler anyway. The next few days were chaos. Emma kept calling and texting, begging me to reconsider. Tyler even showed up at my work trying to convince me, saying it was just for one day and they'd make it up to me later. I told him the only thing I wanted was an apology and for them to find a new venue. Apparently, finding a new location 2 weeks before a wedding is nearly impossible, especially in our small town. Emma's mom called my mom trying to guilt trip her, saying I was ruining their daughter's special day over something petty. My mom told her that if her daughter had any backbone, she wouldn't have chosen her in-laws over her best friend in the first place. The wedding ended up happening at the local VFW hall, which looks nothing like the outdoor fairy tale Emma had planned. I heard through mutual friends that it rained that day and the roof leaked in 3 different spots. Tyler's precious family complained about everything from the food to the decorations. Emma and I haven't spoken since that day. It's been months now, and part of me still can't believe how quickly everything fell apart. Someone I once called my sister just cut me off to please people who barely even know her. At first, I kept hoping she'd come around, that maybe once the wedding chaos was over, she'd realize how unfair she'd been. But the silence between us has only grown louder. Sometimes I'll scroll through old pictures of us, the road trips, sleepovers, random selfies where we were laughing so hard we couldn't breathe. And it stings. I poured years of friendship into that bond. I stood by her through every heartbreak, every fight with her parents, every late-night breakdown. And in the end, I wasn't even worth standing up for. Friends tell me I dodged a bullet, that people who cave to pressure like that don't make loyal friends. Maybe they're right. But there's still this ache that comes with losing someone who knew every piece of your story. I keep replaying that day on my couch, her shaking hands, the guilt in her eyes, and the way she asked to still use my backyard after cutting me out of her life. That moment told me everything I needed to know. My parents still bring her up sometimes, mostly out of disbelief. My mom says Emma let herself be controlled. And my dad jokes that at least our grass didn't get trampled by that ridiculous circus. We all laugh, but inside, it's bittersweet. I heard from a mutual friend that Emma's honeymoon wasn't great either. Endless arguments, money issues, and tension with Tyler's family. I don't take joy in it, but I can't pretend it doesn't make me wonder if she ever regrets how she treated me. Maybe one day she'll reach out, maybe not. Either way, I've learned something important. Friendship shouldn't be conditional. If someone can drop you the moment it's inconvenient to keep you, then they were never really your person to begin with. Story. My wife invited her ex-boyfriend and her abusive ex-husband on our family vacation. Then her mom said, "We'll just give your ticket to Mark." So I canceled everything, booked a one-way flight, and called my lawyer. 10 minutes later, they went pale when they realized what I'd done. Chapter 1, The Guest List from Hell. We were supposed to be celebrating my promotion, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that took 10 years of 4 a.m. grind, missed holidays, and patient sacrifice. I'd rented a luxury beachside villa in Baez, just for family, just for rest. But 3 days before departure, my wife Amanda casually dropped the bomb over dinner. "Oh, by the way, Mark and Jason are joining us." I blinked. Mark, her high school boyfriend. Jason, her ex-husband, the same man she'd once gotten a restraining order against. And somehow both were close friends now. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. "They're family to me," she said, sipping wine. "And besides, Mom thinks it's healthier for the kids to be around all their father figures." "Father figures," I said, choking on my food. "I'm their father, and we only have 2 kids. Amanda didn't flinch. Neither did her mother, who chimed in, "You've always been too sensitive. If you don't like it, well, we'll just give your ticket to Mark." And they laughed. That night, I lay in bed wide awake while Amanda whispered on the phone just outside the bedroom. I heard her say Jason's name. I heard her say, "He's spineless. He won't do anything." They thought I was trapped. They thought I'd still show up. They didn't know who they were talking to. The next morning, Amanda got a message from me. Short and cold. "Don't wait up. I've made new arrangements." She laughed it off. Minutes later, her phone rang. It was from our bank, then the airline, then the villa owner, and slowly the laughter began to die. Chapter 2, The Trip That Never Was. Amanda didn't notice anything at first. She thought I was bluffing until she and her guests showed up at the airport. Bags packed, kids in tow, her mother proudly live-streaming her dream vacation on social media, and the airline staff calmly said, "Sorry, ma'am, this reservation was canceled by the primary cardholder." Her smirk vanished. Then came the second blow. "Also, we see a permanent travel restriction notice on this itinerary. The system says, 'Do not rebook without legal clearance.'" She turned white. Jason, her ex-husband, started getting loud, yelling at the counter staff. That's when 2 TSA agents approached and calmly asked him to step aside. "Sir, you're flagged on this account. There's a protective order issued under federal jurisdiction." "You need to come with us," Amanda screamed. Mark looked like he just wet himself. "You see that one call I made after they uninvited me? It was to my lawyer, who also happened to be the legal trustee of a family business empire Amanda had never taken seriously. An empire I had spent years quietly growing, using her name, her tax ID, her digital signature, all legally assigned under the umbrella of a marital trust. That trust, I dissolved it. Everything she thought she owned, the beachfront rental, the plane tickets, the spending accounts, even the company car, vanished in seconds. Amanda thought she was hurting me by inviting her exes. She didn't realize I was the sole owner of everything she'd been flaunting. Meanwhile, back home, I was watching everything unfold via security footage and phone updates. My lawyer called. Her mom just tried to use one of the cards. Declined. Amanda's account empty. The LLCS closed. I took a sip of coffee and said, "Good, tell the villa owner to relist it." At 4:43 p.m., I received a group text. "Amanda, what did you do?" Her mother, "You ruined everything." "Jason, you'll regret this, loser." "Mark, you just embarrassed yourself." I didn't reply. Instead, I posted a photo on my private story. A first-class seat, champagne in hand, a view from 36,000 FT caption. "I needed a vacation from all of you." Chapter 3, The Legal Avalanche. Amanda always thought lawyers were for court drama, shouting matches and final verdicts. She had no idea that true destruction comes quietly through documents, signatures, and clauses she never bothered to read. The trust unraveling. 3 days after the airport incident, Amanda received her first certified letter. Notice of trust revocation and asset reassignment. In plain English, everything under our marital trust, the vacation homes, 2 vehicles, 3 business licenses, and the investment accounts was dissolved, reassigned to my name only. Why? Because when she had me removed from the vacation, she also unknowingly violated a clause in the trust. Intentional exclusion of the spouse from marital plans without consent shall trigger automatic dissolution. She signed that clause herself. My lawyer just activated it. Her world begins to crumble. Amanda's personal bank account overdrawn because all her savings were backed by joint collateral. The SUV she bragged about on Instagram leased through my LLC, which was now closed. Her mom's spa business, which I secretly funded, frozen under audit because Amanda listed it as her income source on a fake loan application 2 years ago. And I still had a copy. Jason, her abusive ex-husband. Fired from the construction job, I secretly helped him get under a fake name he used to avoid child support. I sent the employer his real identity and arrest record. Mark, the smug new boyfriend, evicted from the condo I paid for because I owned it through a shell company. He found out the hard way when the locks were changed during his live stream. Amanda tries to fight back and fails. She lawyered up fast, but it was too late. The paper trail was clear. She'd signed everything away. The only thing in her name now, debt. Even worse, when she tried to play the victim on social media, it backfired. Screenshots of her mocking my boring energy, her vacation invite to her exes, and her mother's "we're replacing you with Mark" comment went viral. The internet was not kind. One last call. Amanda called me crying. Not angry, not smug, just broken. "Why are you doing this?" "I just wanted a break." I paused for a moment, then calmly said, "So did I, and you gave me one from all of you." Then I hung up. That night, I opened a bottle of wine, sat on the porch of a new lakeside cabin I'd purchased, in my name only, and watched the sunset. My phone buzzed again. A voicemail from Amanda. "Please just talk to me." I have nowhere to go. I didn't press play. Chapter 4. No address forwarded. By the time Amanda realized what she had truly lost, it wasn't just about the house, the car, or even the vacation. It was about identity, status, control, all of it. Gone like sand through her fingers. And the worst part? No one came to catch her. The public unraveling. It started small. A few posts on her social media about being betrayed by a narcissist. Vague, self-pitying, and oddly defensive. But then the screenshots started circulating. Her gloating texts about replacing me with Mark. That smug video from the airport where she said he can stay home and cry will be poolside. A clip from her mother laughing. Maybe now we can finally enjoy ourselves without his negativity. Suddenly they weren't the victims anymore. The internet did what it does best. It remembered and judged ruthlessly. Her business sponsors pulled out. Influencer brand deals dropped her. Even her childhood friends unfollowed her after I sent them a simple PDF, the timeline of the betrayal. It had receipts, literal ones, and screenshots. Meanwhile, in court, she showed up in a beige pantsuit. No makeup, no entourage, no smug smile. The court date wasn't dramatic, just procedural. But when the judge asked, "Miss Keller, did you knowingly remove your husband's name from the vacation arrangements while retaining access to jointly held assets?" She tried to spin it. It was a misunderstanding. The judge cut her off. "Please answer the question." Under oath, she looked down. Yes, that one word cost her everything. The judge granted me full control of the marital trust, sole custody of our son. She hadn't even asked to see him since the vacation and issued a restraining order against her for financial coercion and emotional abuse. Her family turned on her. Her mother blamed her for dragging the family name through the mud. Her sister ghosted her. Even Mark, the replacement, dumped her in a text. "This is way more drama than I signed up for." "And you're broke now?" "Nah." She tried to come back to the condo, but the locks were changed. Utilities were shut off, her name erased from the lease. She had nowhere to go and no one to help. No address forwarded. A week later, a certified envelope arrived at her lawyer's office. It was from me. Inside was a check for $1 and a note that said, "For your contribution to the downfall. Consider it symbolic interest." On the back of the envelope, I wrote in clean block letters, "No address forwarding requested." She stood outside the courtroom holding the dollar. One final voicemail came through on my phone later that night. "Please, I know I don't deserve it, but can I just talk to our son?" I didn't respond because for the first time in years, our son was laughing, playing chess on the porch with me, and I wasn't about to let her ruin that moment. Chapter 5. The Letter and the Lesson. 3 years passed. 3 peaceful, astonishingly quiet years. No screaming, no chaos, no last-minute emergencies that weren't really emergencies. Just the steady rhythm of life. And my son laughing again. He was thriving. His grades were better. He stopped biting his nails. He even started calling me Pops again like he used to when he was little. I didn't talk about Amanda. Not out of bitterness, but because she was no longer part of our story. The letter. On a gray January morning, a handwritten envelope arrived at my new address. No return name, but the penmanship was unmistakable. Inside was a single letter. No apology, no excuses, just 6 lines. You were right, I destroyed something I didn't know how to value. I see it now every time I pass a playground and wonder if he still remembers my face. Tell him I'm sorry. I folded the letter quietly, placed it in my desk drawer, and locked it. My son never saw it because he no longer needed to remember the pain to feel whole. The final favor. That night, I stood alone on the balcony of our new house. Not a mansion, but ours. Bought in my name. Earned safe. I held a glass of scotch, the wind brushing against my chest. Then I pulled out my phone and sent one message. Not to Amanda, but to her mother. Tell your daughter the boy she abandoned just got accepted into the National Honor Society. She won't get another update. Block, delete, done, reflection, the quiet victory. Revenge didn't come with fire or destruction. It came with silence, stability, peace. And that's what hurt Amanda the most, that I didn't spend my life trying to beat her. I simply removed her from the equation. She burned her bridge. I built a road. She laughed when she thought she'd won. But in the end, she wasn't even in the game anymore. Final line. Sometimes the loudest revenge is a life lived so quietly they can't even hear you laughing. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Or should the storm have raged harder? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one. Hit like if you crave justice and share this story with someone who needs its fire. Subscribe to Lauren's story because here betrayals don't sleep. They hunt their owners. Every shadow hides a reckoning. Every mask breaks. And every betrayal is answered. Stay sharp. Stay unbroken. Stay tuned.